Well, it looks like Sweet Baby Inc. isn't going away anytime soon. In fact, they are still trying to ruin gaming by pushing DEI and ESG narratives in every game they work on. These gaming companies go out of their way to work with these idiots and they ruin their products. All they know how to do is make everything ugly, fat, black, gay, trans, you get the idea. And gamers have been fighting against this company for months now, boycotting everything they touch. And they are now just saying the quiet part out loud of how they want to ruin the gaming industry and ruin gaming for everybody. And we have an article to read from that Park Place. And the headline reads, Sweet Baby Inc. employee admits goal is burning the games industry to the ground. I wonder what they mean by burning the industry to the ground, because I think video games have been trash in the last decades. That's why I don't play any AAA games, and I'm talking about AAA before they were super game pushing all this stuff. I was already tired of a lot of AAA games for like at least 5 years now. So it depends on what this idiot means by burning to the ground, because personally I would like the AAA to all go under and the indie developers take over, because they're the ones actually providing good gameplay, good cool graphical art style, not the ugly Unreal Engine realism. I can't stand Unreal Engine. I can't stand its ultra realism graphics. It's stupid, it's ugly, it's trash. But I have a feeling they mean burn down to the ground in a more sinister way. So let's actually continue reading the article. A Sweet Baby Inc. employee named Cameron Wild, who claims to be non-binary of course, admitted that his goal is burning the games industry to the ground. Of course it had to be some dirty homosexual. Y'all are just full of anger and rage. Just stop being gay. Go be with a nice woman. What's wrong with you? Why would you want to be gay for? There's a lot of beautiful women out there. It makes no sense to me, but let's continue reading. In a presentation titled How to Get Away with Murder Subverting Genre Expectations at the Game Developers of Color Expo. Oh my god. Whatever, continue. At the Game Developers of Color Expo discovered by YouTuber Kirsch, Wild introduces himself saying he's a narrative designer and sensitivity reader with a company called Sweet Baby Inc. The fuck is a sensitivity reader? What does that mean? Is that literally just means you get offended and you determine if a lot of people will get offended by something as well? Is that literally what a sensitivity reader is? Oh, this is too sensitive. You can't say this in your game. You can't say that. That's offensive or that's racist to this group of people. We're gonna determine that is too much and people are too pussified to have mature language and mature themes in their game. Fucking sensitivity readers. Everybody's a fucking pussy. Jeez. Or whatever, continue. Wild, who's according to Moby Games worked on Tales of Kanzura Zao, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, Alan Wake 2, The Crew Motorfest, Kingdom 80s, and God of War Ragnarok, then declared that the stories we tell each other are way more than entertainment. They are how we create, debate, and preserve our collective values and beliefs. And we can and should make better, more representational content. Why don't you make some good content for once? Because nobody was talking about representation a decade ago. And that's when video games were actually good, because video games are fucking garbage now. And back then, there were some black characters. They weren't majority, because black people are not the majority in real life. So why should they be the majority in fiction? I just find it so funny that now when you talk about representation, people don't like it when nobody talked about before and people didn't care. People just saw a character. If they thought the character was cool, thought he had a cool design, story, personality, people just liked the character. They didn't care if the character was black. They didn't care if the character was a woman. And now that's all you fucking talk about and people are sick of it. Incredible. Let's continue. Then in a slide titled, Cool, so why am I here? One of the bullet points states, burning the industry to the well, I still wondering, does he mean that in a sinister way or does he mean that in a passion? Oh, he means it in a sinister way. I'm not even going to give these fucking homos the benefit of the doubt. These people are angry, disgusting, degenerate freaks. I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they want to make games genuinely better. No, they're just angry and want to destroy everybody. Let's continue reading. In the next slide titled, So Why Am I Still Here? One of the bullet points states, to prove that space where whiteness doesn't have to live is where some of the best stories are told. Well, you're not the judge of that though. The people in general are a judge of that. If people like your stories, they will support your stories. The problem is that when you talk about this stuff, when you talk about race and diversity, it always ends up being bad. It never ends up being good, so people don't like it. And then when people hear diversity, they do not like it by default. Do you not understand? These people are fucking ruining just everything. They are just fucking untalented idiots. But let's continue. Wild explained, a lot of us who are fighting for more inclusive games and storytelling don't have a choice when it comes to discomfort. A lot of us who are just existing don't have a choice, which makes this really hard often. But recently I started realizing that discomfort, or the place where whiteness doesn't have to live, is where some of the best stories are told. It's where genre storytelling lives. Feeling uncomfortable is a choice. You don't have to feel uncomfortable around any group of people. It's just a stupid thing to say. You're choosing to be uncomfortable. You're just choosing to be a victim rather than just having a normal conversation like a normal human being, just talking to different people. It's just so weird for no reason. These people are miserable, but whatever, let's continue. Later in the presentation, Wild explains why Blazing Saddles is his favorite film, of course. The reason why I love it is beyond some truly Mel Brooksian slap humor and fart jokes. Blazing Saddles is extremely aware of the social inequalities and finds its humor in that darkness, which means I can laugh in a way that is cathartic. It's a movie that isn't making jokes about me but for me, and I think that's really awesome. Because you can tell in the text, but it's also a fact that Brooks worked with black writers to make sure the jokes came at the expense of whiteness and chipped away in an absurd social hierarchy. It's deliberately and unexpectedly a narrative that contributes to the liberation of people like me. It isn't respectful, it's offensive. But yeah, it offends the right people, which is to me the point of truly incisive, intentional genre work. The presentation then turns into a tornado of does this have to do with gaming anymore? Jesus fucking Christ. I'll skip ahead a bit. This idiot is just ranting about movies and stuff like that. This is a fucking gaming conference. You're supposed to talk about games. He then wrapped up the entire presentation by sharing that good genre starts with representation on the creative team. The foundations of the project must be solid. No, you need good people on the creative team. See, this is the fucking problem. Stop thinking about the race of the character so much. Just make a character that just so happens to be of that race. That's why all these characters end up being the same. They end up being so stereotypical and predictable. Just make a fucking character. That is it. Just make a character. You thinking about the fucking background and race so much that it just ruins everything. It makes everything so fucking predictable because all these writers think exactly the same way. And when something becomes predictable, it becomes boring. Whatever, I'll just finish off this article. Wild also claims that the identity of your characters, specifically your heroes, must define their challenges in the narrative, but it must also define their triumphs. Finally, Wild claims that good genre must consider its relationship to power. What the fuck does that mean? And that's basically the end of the article. I have no idea what the fuck does that mean. Relationship to power. It just means how successful you are in life. And about what this retard said about having your character just talk about their race or have their identity be a part of the narrative. No. Why haven't you idiots learned this lesson yet? Nobody wants to see a black character and just see the character just complain about race and just talk about race. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, and I have to deal with this because I'm this. It's so fucking old. You do this with blacks, you do this with gays, you do this with women. Nobody wants the entire narrative to be around said race. It's boring, it's predictable, it's annoying, it's happening way too much. You idiots still haven't learned your lesson. This is why entertainment is falling off a cliff, because you have so many writers that are not qualified, that are just hired because of their race or their sexuality or because they're women, whatever. And this is all they know how to do. They do not know how to create original, interesting characters or heroes or villains or anything. They are just imprinting themselves onto the character, and their internal struggle is the fact that they are within a specific group that they view as oppressed. They know nothing about heroism. They can't just create a character that wants to make the world a better place, that has a specific goal, wants to help somebody, wants to rescue somebody, just anything good at all. Literally anything wholesome. These people don't know what wholesome is anymore because they're miserable pieces of shit. They are miserable people, and they imprint that misery on all these characters that they write. It makes everything fucking boring and predictable because they do not know how to write. They only know how to write themselves. And they themselves are unhappy people. And that's why everything's falling off a cliff, because all these fucking writers, these creative teams of people don't know what they're doing. And now these idiots want to do the same thing for gaming. They've done it for other industries. These types of people, comic books are dead, movies and TVs are falling off a cliff, gaming is burning down. We didn't even get into the explanation of how he wants gaming to burn down. Does he just mean in terms of white people? Because that's the only thing he was complaining about. He has no genuine passion to see the industry make good games again. He's just a racist piece of shit that complains about whiteness instead of just enjoying his own life and stop being a fucking queerdo. It's funny, but it's just fucking stupid at the same time. I'm good. I stuck to indie games. AAA games have been trash for 5+ years, and now they're gay. I'm good. Definitely not touching it, especially since a lot of them want to work with people like Sweet Baby Inc. So I don't have much else to say. Sweet Baby Inc. in the gaming industry, just go fuck yourself already.